Last year, I took a university course about writing nonfiction books, so a lot of the advice in this video are based on things that I learned during that course, and also things that I learned in the book 123 Nonfiction by Lotta Mjöberg. The book is only available in Swedish, I think, so sorry you guys, but hopefully it will be turned into English one day too, because I think that's a really, really great book for anyone who wants to write a nonfiction. And I know that writing a nonfiction book in 30 days might seem impossible, but it really doesn't have to be. If you are prepared, if you have done your research and stuff beforehand, it is definitely possible, but you do need to be prepared for it to take, it will take time, it will take effort, and you might have to say no to other things during November if you're going to write it in only 30 days. My plan for the nonfiction I'm going to write is that it should be around 50,000 words, so that fits perfectly with Nanowrimo, since during Nanowrimo, you're supposed to write a book that is 50,000 words long. So for me, this is great. And you also need to think about how long you want your book to be. And one way to decide that is to look at other books within the same niche or genre as yourself. Personally, I write my nonfiction books are nonfiction books about writing, since I'm an author. But then different aspects of the writing and author journey, I guess. So the first step when it comes to planning your nonfiction book is to write the blurb that is supposed to be on the backside of your book. I know that this might seem a little bit odd, like, what? Wait, my idea isn't even finished yet. But this will actually force you to go down into laser focus and think about what the book should actually be about. And you have to think about the first few lines, because those are the most important ones when it comes to a nonfiction or any kind of book blurb, basically. So, think about what it should say on the backside here, and yeah, start cooking down your idea until you have something that can actually go on the backside of a blurb. Because what you should do is you should write this blurb as if you have already written the entire manuscript, the entire nonfiction book. So yeah, what are the essentials? And one thing that you can do if you get stuck here is to look for inspiration. So say that you want to write a book about yoga, like how to do yoga at home. Look at other books within the same niche and within the same genre to see what they have on the on the blurb of their books, and then think about how you can add something new into that specific niche or genre. And also remember to include information about why you've written the book and what makes you an expert on this. As I said before, I mean, this can be hard. Yeah, for sure. But the fact that you want to write this book because you have some sort of expertise or some sort of experience about the subject in question, and that in itself makes you, one step ahead of the people who want to learn it. So, let's say you want to write a book about how to write a book. Well, if you've written a book, then you have learned a few things that someone who hasn't written a book don't know. So there you can share your experience, and that makes you, in a way, like an expert. And a few questions that you should ask yourself about this backside or book blurb is why does it spark curiosity? And once again, please use other books, look at what they have on their blurbs and see is there anything that sparks your curiosity on their books? How can you transform that into your own idea for your own nonfiction? And also ask yourself how is your book or how is your idea different from other books within the genre? Who is your ideal reader? This is a super, super important question, because if you don't know who your ideal reader is, you don't know what you're going to write. And also, depending on who your ideal reader is, you will also find out what the subgenre for your book is. So there are a gazillion different kinds of subgenres. There are self-help books, cookbooks, instructionals. I don't know, there are a gazillion ones, but do think about if there is a specific subgenre of nonfiction that you're going to write within. And now I'm going to look at some examples for my own project so that we can do this Preptober together. The first book is How to Market a Book by Joanna Penn. And in her blurb, it says that the first job of an author is, of course, to write great books, but these days the second job is to market them. Marketing isn't a skill that most authors have naturally, and there and there is little formal training. But when your book hits the shelf and the sales don't start rolling in, there are only two things an author can do: keep writing more books and get a grip on marketing. This is a really good way to storytell and to tell us what her book is about, her nonfiction book is about. So that there are definitely some inspiration in here that I can use for my project. The next book we're going to look at is Atomic Habit by James Clear. This is one of my favorite nonfiction books of all time, so that's why I'm going to use it for inspiration. So here it says, no matter your goals, Atomic Habits has offered a proven framework for improving every day. James Clear, not only the world's most leading expert on habit formation, reveals practical strategies that will teach you exactly how to form good habits, break bad ones, and master tiny behaviors that lead to remarkable results. So when I look at this blurb, like, first of all, there is a really great um, social proof as to why he has written the book and no one else. So here it's like it's cement that he is an expert, he is a thought leader when it comes to this subject, and that's why we should trust him. And another thing that I find interesting is here, like at the end, let me see, teaches you exactly how to, then it has this like repetitive pattern, like forming good habit, breaking bad ones, and master tiny behaviors. Is this the rule of third that has been used there? And the rule of third, if I remember correctly, is a great way for us to remember things. So that is also something I might use on my blurb. We'll see, we'll see. And the third example comes from Story Genius by Lisa Cron. So let's see what it says up here. Following on the heels of Lisa Cron's breakout first book, Wired for Story, this writing guide reveals how to use cognitive storytelling strategies to build a scene-by-scene blueprint for a riveting story. It's every novelist's greatest, pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into writing hundreds of pages, only to realize that the story has no sense of urgency, no internal logic, and so is a page one rewrite. I would say that this blurb really like hits a nerve when it comes to feelings. I can, I've been there. I've written an entire novel that didn't have like that sense of urge, that sense of forward drive. So yeah, this one hits close to home, and that is why I actually bought and read Lisa Cron's book, because I wanted to learn how to write better stories. And she really, they really convinced me with this blurb on why I should. So now it's time. Let's write our blurb together. So the blurb should be, according to Lotta Mjöberg, it should be 250 words, no more, no less. So try to keep it to maximum 250 words. I know this is super hard, as we just went through like all the things that should be in it. And remember, pretend that your book's already published and try to be as professional as possible. Like, this might actually be what ends up on the blurb of your real book once it's finished. Let's do this together, yeah? Okay, so there we have it. I've written a blurb. There is, yeah, it is still less than 250 words, so I'm quite happy. I hope it went well for you guys as well. If you need more time to write the blurb for your backside, please feel free to pause this video and, you know, get on with it before you take the next step, because it's important to do this in the correct order, because otherwise, you know, you might get ahead of yourself. And now it's time for you to once again think about who your ideal reader is. Because when you know who your ideal reader is, you will also have some sort of idea, like how much experience or knowledge do they already have about this topic that you're going to write about. So for me, as I said, I'm writing nonfiction books about writing and writing plus. So I know that most writers and most authors don't have that much experience about the topic that I'm going to write about, so I know that they need a lot of guidance within that. So I'm going to have to go back to basic and teach them more on how they can incorporate that specific knowledge into their author careers and into their long-term writing. So now it's time for the next exercise for this Preptober, non-fiction Preptober. That is to write the table of content for your non-fiction book. The table of content in most non-fiction books are usually like 10 to 15 topics, no more than that. Like you can have subtopics under, sure, but remember to try and keep it short and sweet, because otherwise it's super easy to like try to write a book that is this long, and that won't help anyone. Then it's actually better to have multiple books or something like that. So yeah, write your table of contents. I'm gonna do it too, so let's dive in, hey? So yeah, I have some sort of table of content ready for Nanowrimo. So now I have at least an idea of what I'm going to write. I think I do need to polish this before November a little bit more, but still I have a plan, I have some ideas. And the next step now is to start doing research. So I'm going to start reading up on the topics that I'm going to write about. I'm planning to actually like read a lot and like highlight good passages that I can use as sources for my books. And I personally use an app called Readwise. Readwise is great because you can like in a physical book you can highlight the text and then you can say which page you found it on and stuff like that. So, and after that, like the app actually sends all the notes to a website online, and I've connected that one to my Notion board. Maybe this is too much information, but that is how I work with notes. And I think that if you're going to write nonfiction, you need to have some sort of idea and plan on how you're going to collect information from other places, other books, other interviews, articles, because you need to save the sources for later, because, you know, if something turns up a few years from now or whatever, you need to be able to find where you got that quote from. At least I think that's the professional way to work with it. And also, like, if you want to do interviews, now is a great time to start before NaNoWriMo, because at least for me, during NaNoWriMo, I'm just going to write. And the more research I've done beforehand, the easier it will be to just dive in and write as much and as fast as possible. So I hope that this Preptober video helped you guys get an idea on what you're gonna do for your NaNoWriMo if you're writing nonfiction. And I will be doing like live streams and stuff during NaNoWriMo to write together with you guys. I think it's a great way to connect and just to boost my productivity. So if you have any questions about writing nonfiction, let me know in the comments, and please tell me what you're gonna write during NaNoWriMo. I'd love to hear from you. That's all for today. I will talk to you soon. Bye.